Bombshell Dynasty. Welcome to the team call. I am really, really excited about tonight's call. We have a top 10 coach in the house, and this just happens to be a coach who has only been a coach since May of 2013. And if you're doing the math, that means she's been a coach for less than 2 years, a little bit over a year and a half. And to go and start a coaching journey and get into the top 10 in that short of a period of time, it takes some special sauce. And I'm sure she's worked extremely hard. I know her and Brittany Leggett, our very own, hooked up as success partners about, I think it was around midway through the year. And inevitably, funny enough, they both finished 7th in the network last year. So it's pretty cool that they partnered up and they ended up exactly in the same spot. But I think it's really cool that what Carly has done, because she really shared her story a couple weeks ago. If you listen to the National Wake Up Call, which you don't listen to the National Wake Up Call, you've got to get on there, because although we have these awesome Bombshell Dynasty calls every Monday night, every Monday afternoon or morning, depending on where you live, there is a top coach sharing all their tips on the National Wake Up Call. And she was on there a couple weeks ago. And I just loved her story and the way that she's approaching this business and really putting it challenger first. And we talked about, okay, what is your specialty? What do you feel like is your special sauce in the business? And for her, it is effectively taking these challengers and bringing them into the coaching business successfully so that they have that fire in them to want to go and pay forward what they were just given. And so there could not be a more perfect topic, because obviously on a daily basis, that's what you guys are doing. You're bringing people into challenge groups, and then your goal is to eventually find those people that have that DNA, that determined natural ambition to want to do something great with their life, and they naturally almost lead themselves into coaching. But sometimes people get intimidated to flat out ask, or how do I approach it? I don't want them to think it's a scheme. So I thought it was really cool that she wanted to do this topic, and I think it's such a valid topic to cover. Carly's a 5-star diamond. She has 21 months consecutive in having 20 Success Club points or more. So the girl knows what she's doing. And although, a lot of people hit Success Club once in a while, to hit 20 and above means you have to keep in the grind, and that you are expanding your market, and you can't ever run out of that warm market. You've got to start to break outside of that. So I'm really excited for her to share. She may have some extra time at the end for questions. So if there's something that she covers that maybe you have a question on, write it down, have it ready to copy and paste into the comment section as soon as she's done. And we'll try to cover 3 or 4 questions after the call. So without further ado, I want to welcome Carly to the call. Carly, I'm going to press stop broadcast and you press start, and we will confirm via the text that we can hear you okay.
Hello. Okay. Can somebody on the little chat guy tell me that you hear me? Because this thing totally confuses me. Okay. Yes, you can. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it off, because I made that mistake when I did Brittany Leggett's call and I was watching the chat the entire time. So I'm going to turn that off. Hold on. Only show. Okay. Good. I was about to say good morning. Oh my goodness. Good evening. I am in California, so it's still a little bit early, but I know it's getting late for you guys on the East Coast. So hello. Thanks for spending some time with me, and Lindsay for having me on your team call. For me, this is kind of really surreal, because I'm sure even like some of your girls in your team, I'm kind of a fangirl of you. So you know how much I admire you and your team, and Brittany has been an incredible success partner to me. So without you, I wouldn't have her. So anyways, I'm just so grateful for you guys having me here. If you're used to slides, I'm sorry I don't have slides. Actually, Lindsay did our team call last week, and I was like, oh shoot, I should really start using some slides. But I'm kind of a talker. So if you want to take notes that way, I hope you have something to take away by the end of this call. But to be honest, I don't have any slides, and I'm so sorry, but maybe next time I do the call, I will have slides. But anyways, I know a lot of you probably listened to my National Wake Up Call. If you didn't, maybe you should. I know a lot of people really connected with it, but just in case, I'll go over my story a little bit so you can kind of hear why I'm a coach, my journey, and the reason, when Lindsay said, what kind of topic would you want to talk about when we exchange team call ideas? And I said challenger to coach conversion, because I was a challenger and then I became a coach. And I actually was really, hesitant, I guess, is to put it lightly. I was hesitant about becoming a coach and really, truly didn't want to do it. Wasn't a fan, any of that. So let me start from the beginning though. I just turned 25. I've been saying 24, but I just turned 25. And I have been a coach, like Lindsay said, for less than 2 years. I think it's been a little over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in May. So whatever the math is for that. My story started when I was younger. I had always kind of been overweight, kind of gained weight slowly, just been the chubbier kid, I guess you could say. I just was really uncomfortable as a young kid into teens, into young adulthood. I know I'm still a young adult, so I understand, but I was just kind of overweight, and I eventually started finding my rhythm in working out. I ended up falling in love with working out when I was about 20. I actually lost about 70 pounds in the course of, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. But I also developed a really severe eating disorder. I wasn't feeding myself properly, and I was working out a ton, which is great because I love to work out, and it instilled that in me. But the food side of things never really clicked with me. So fast forward a little bit, when I was at UCLA, I was in a sorority, so I was surrounded by girls all the time, and just easy ways to compare myself. And I started falling back into eating disorder habits, but in the opposite way. And I started binging and just not treating myself properly. So when I graduated UCLA, I was living in an apartment on my own in Brentwood. If anyone knows the LA area, it's absolutely wonderful there. I love it and I miss it. And I was living by myself in an apartment, and I was in this weird in-between space of, okay, I graduated UCLA with a pre-law degree. I am enrolled in graduate school. I was on my way and had a deposit down and everything. When I realized that I was super unhealthy and super unhappy, honestly, that's what I should have said first, is I was unhappy. And I had all these things going for me. I had an incredible education. I had an incredible family. I lived in a great apartment. But I felt like there was something missing, and I just wasn't taking care of myself. And I didn't realize till I stepped on the scale that actually from the time I graduated UCLA in June until March, so maybe that's like a span of 6 months, 5-6 months, I had gained close to, I think, 30 or 40 pounds of the original 70 I had lost. And it was really, really shameful for me. And it was really something hard to grasp as a 22-year-old at the time, just trying to figure out where to go. So anyway, long story short, I started binging and just not treating myself well. Just everything awful that you can imagine happened in that apartment. I just wasn't taking care of myself. And like many of you, I'm assuming, I actually was following somebody on social media, and she was posting about like this weird jumping turbo videos. And I was like, that blonde girl looks familiar. I realized it was Shalene Johnson. I'd been taking classes with her since I was a teenager in my hometown. And she was talking about superfood shakes, something I didn't know, but I was like, okay, I need some help. I got to do this. Whatever this challenge is, this thing is that she's talking about, I'm going to do that. So in the same spot, this is part of my story. So in the same couch and the same spot that I binged on 10,000 calories in a matter of 3 hours, I think it was, true story, is the same place I also signed up to be a coach. And signed up to be a challenger and ended up changing my life. Same couch, same apartment, same place. That was it's an incredible turn of events how that happened. But I ended up joining as a challenger, and I fell in love with, actually, I'm not going to lie, I hated Shakeology at first. So if you have anybody who hates Shakeology, or if you hate Shakeology, but you believe in it so much and it's important and it's powerful, just so a top 10 coach hated it too. So I always try to encourage my team to be super honest and real, because I didn't like it, but I knew it had all these amazing foods in it that I was already buying at Whole Foods. And I'm like, why am I spending $200 at Whole Foods when A, I can't afford that, and B, it's in a shake. It's done for me. I don't have to put it all together. It's all there. So, lo and behold, I kept drinking my Shakeology, and I ended up falling in love with it. Now, like I'm sure many of you, I can't go a day without it. But at first, I absolutely hated it. I started working out, and I started working out in a space of maybe like 3 feet in between my coffee place and my coffee table and my fireplace. And anyway, I started falling in love with Beachbody, and I started posting on social media. If any of you follow me on Instagram, I have a pretty large Instagram following at this point. I'm sure a lot of them are coaches though. But in the beginning, I just honestly created an Instagram account because I was like, I don't know, I just want to like post some health and fitness pictures and I just want to inspire somebody. And I was just that person where I just wanted to inspire people. And about 2 months into my journey, I started getting all these messages from people saying, you should be a coach. You should be a coach. Have you ever thought about it? And I was thinking, no, I've not thought about it. And please leave me alone. Like, no. And it actually ended up being one person who ended up changing my life and encouraging me and telling me that they believed in me to become a coach. She ended up living like 10 minutes from me in LA. She was in Venice Beach, and it just kind of clicked. You know, you just had those moments. You're like, okay, God, I get it. I should do this. That happened. And I was like, okay, I should do it. So the same couch where I binged and then signed up for a challenge pack ended up being the same couch I sat on and signed up to be a coach, which forever changed my life. And for me, going from challenger to coach was a little bit tough, which is why I spend so much time training my team and teaching them how to better transition their challengers to coaches, and why I'm going to talk to you guys about it tonight, because I had a really rough time, not with helping people or inspiring, but with seeing myself as a leader. And immediately I knew who Lindsay Matway was. I knew who Melanie Mitchell was. I know who all these big coaches were. And I felt like I wasn't that person. Like I'm not blonde, first of all. I'm none of those people. I didn't have six packs, multiple. No, I didn't have a six pack. I didn't, I don't know. These are all things I told myself in my head, that I didn't have all these things. And it took the moment when I started counting all the things that I did have, for me to be successful. So back up a little bit. When I first became a coach, in my first month, I hit Success Club 40. Mind you, I didn't know what that was at the time. I was that coach where I was like, I'm just going to talk to a bunch of people. I'm just going to tell them, I'm going to post on social media. I'm going to tell my friends and family. I'm just going to do that. And I didn't know what Success Club was. I didn't really even know what a challenge pack meant. I just knew that I started my journey with Turbo Fire and Shakeology. So when people were asking me, what are you doing? I was like, I'm drinking Turbo Fire. I'm drinking Shakeology and I'm doing Turbo Fire. And people were like, okay, sign me up. And it's not always that easy, trust me. But in the very beginning, people were intrigued. They wanted to know what I was doing. And without me even knowing what Success Club was, all it took was me knowing I was doing something that made me happy and I wanted to share it with other people. So fast forward a little bit, I actually didn't hit diamond until, I think 8 months into the business. Again, this is a little bit about that transition. I saw myself as a coach and a challenger forever. I kind of will be forever a challenger. That's just how I am. I almost run those groups for me too, just to hold myself accountable. And I didn't see myself as a leader. My upline star diamond, I'm 4 levels deep in her organization, kind of reached out to me. She's like, who is this random person hitting Success Club like 40 and 50 every month? And why is she an Emerald coach? I was an Emerald because my mom and my dad were my 2 coaches. So I, for 8 months, just sat and I was changing all these lives and helping all these people, but I wasn't moving my business. So, when people say, oh my gosh, you did top 10 in a year and a half, like truly, I didn't start moving my business until January 2014, when I really started growing a team and creating coaches out of my challengers. And I know that was kind of long-winded, but I wanted to give you some background on why this is so not important, important, but something I'm so passionate about and something that I try to explain to people as best I can, because it's important to know that it was hard for me too. And I explain that to my coaches and my new coaches and the coaches. So it's something because, for me, there's different teams on this business. A lot of, some teams are really coach driven and people join the network they want to become coaches and they want to change people's lives and inspire people. The people I attract are people who need help and people who need help with their health and fitness. And it takes a little bit more work and effort, but it's a lot of reward at the end though, when you spend that time making sure that people can see themselves as leaders. So for me, like I said, you guys, it took one person telling me that I could do it. And I was like, okay, like I'll try that and I'll give it a try. For a long time, the reason I didn't want to grow a team of coaches, because I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be a network marketer. I didn't want to be an MLM person, a pyramid person, like just totally against it. So if you're kind of sitting here, if you're a newer coach and wondering like if this is for you and you think it's a pyramid, it's totally not. It's been the most incredible journey of my entire life. But I was afraid and I didn't want to be that person. And I didn't want to recruit, because I hate that word recruit, even though I use it all the time now. But anyway, my story and my leadership and my style and my team all started to blow up when I decided that I was going to help people. And you might be thinking, well, you were helping people, you had challengers. But I realized, I tell my coaches, if you're not telling people about a challenge group, if you're not telling people about Shakeology and Beachbody and our workouts, you're depriving somebody of changing their life. And it took me realizing, by me not telling people about the coaching opportunity, I was also depriving them from something super amazing. A light bulb moment for me was when I reached out to one of my very first challengers. She's one of my diamonds now, soon to be 2-star. But she was my very first customer who signed up, besides my parents. My very first customer. And I reached out to her and I was like, I don't know, I'm going to try this thing of like teaching new coaches. Would you want to be a coach? And she was like, oh my gosh, I was afraid you'd be mad at me that I didn't want to be a challenger, but I wanted to be a coach. And I was like, oh no, this is so strange. So it was a light bulb. I'm like, if Sarah wanted to do it, who are all the rest of the people that maybe wanted to be coaches? And I never knew and I never asked. So it took me kind of seeing myself as a leader and seeing the ability to teach others how to lead, is what the light bulb moment was. I always say that I teach people how to help people, how to help people to help people. It's this, it's a snowball. If you help somebody and you teach them how to help somebody, it'll never end. And it's incredible. So for me, I just kind of dove right in. I'm that person where if I say I'm going to do something, I just kind of do it, which is why, when I said I was going to go for top 10 in January of 2014, I had no idea what I was doing. But I knew I wanted to help people. And it's so funny because obviously now I have systems like Brittany and Lindsay and all the rest of the top 10. I have systems, but when I started, all I knew was I knew how to hit Success Club. I knew how to tell people they could be great coaches. And I knew that I could teach people how to help other people. And that's all I really knew. So if you're sitting there thinking, I know how to help people, I know how to inspire, I know how to tell people they'd be a great coach, those are all the things that you need. I guarantee you don't need anything special or fancy. Just if you believe in yourself and you believe you have the ability to teach somebody how to help somebody, you're going to be an incredible coach. You can be the next 15-star diamond or whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, this business is about helping people. And if you're not willing to help people and see yourself as a leader in helping others, it's not going to happen. But if you see those things, those 3 simple things, don't worry about the systems yet. Don't worry about the numbers yet. Just start going and start moving that snowball effect. So that was kind of a broad version of what I'm going to say, but this is kind of the meat of the calls, which is what I want to talk about, systems, because I do now have systems for turning my challengers into coaches. For a long time, it was just kind of a hot mess. I would just kind of post like, who wants to be a coach? And and it was just not good. It wasn't good. And then I realized there were certain coaches on my team who would join and they would excel. And I was like, what am I doing with them that's different than all the other people that joined? And I kind of pinpointed what was going on. So for me, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what I do in my challenge group. So I run new challenge groups every single month. It seems like a lot of work. It might sound like it, but to be quite honest, it's not. I like to start fresh every month. I think it gives people just a new perspective, something to look forward to, something exciting. So anyway, I start new challenge groups every month. At the beginning of every month, I make a list. It's just honestly on my phone, the notepad, and it's called Challengers to Watch. It's literally what it's called. And I don't know how you guys run your groups, but for me, I do a welcome video and they do a welcome post and tell about themselves. And there's a certain light that you can tell in people and a spark in people that you can see. And I'm pretty good at seeing, gosh, they have great leadership qualities, and I'll just write their name down on my notepad on my phone, and for challengers to watch. And it's just people that I want to keep my eye on and people that I think would be incredible coaches if I just kind of nudge them that way. So I make that list in the beginning of the month. It's just something that I keep interact with. And, one of my assistants helps me now. That's one of the beauty of growing your business and being successful, is you can kind of have people help and delegate. So they help me with that, but it's something that we do together, and they track all of my challengers. And then I also have a system of making sure that people who are showing leadership qualities are getting shouted out. If you're anything like me, recognition is kind of fun. You like to, it doesn't have to be anything sparky or fancy, but even just sometimes a shout out from your coach is like, oh, that's nice. She recognized what I was doing. So for me, if Alice posts in the group or answers a question about she was having an off day, but she decided to work out anyways, and she hopes everyone else does, I'll just make a post in the group and be like, shout out to Alice. She's showing amazing leadership qualities. I can't wait to see your journey unfold. You're inspiring me already. I can't imagine the other people that you're inspiring in this world, and just, shout her out. And that will in turn pay it forward. So when you're going, 30 days in or 60 days in, whenever you feel most comfortable reaching out to somebody about coaching, and you say, hey, Alice, I just want you to know you would be an incredible coach. And of course, what does everyone say? Well, why? What do you mean? No, I wouldn't. And you say, and no, remember that time, you did this or you did that. And it gets their wheels turning and thinking, oh yeah, I remember when Carly said I was showing leadership qualities. I remember when Carly was saying that I led the group in a positive way on that, last Monday. It plants seeds in their mind that when you bring that up, and you bring up the coaching opportunity, they're already seeing themselves as leaders in some way. And even if it's the smallest way, shout people out. People love recognition. And just in your group, if you want to do it on your wall too, that's cool. But I just do it in the group. So that's something that I have noticed really, really helps just plant seeds early on with my challengers. And it's funny because I've noticed when I get lazy and I don't do those things, and I'm not paying attention to my challengers' non-scale victories and their triumphs for the day and the things that they're doing amazing. When it comes to recruiting coaches, my numbers are usually really, really low because I slacked off in the beginning of the month when I should have been affirming them and telling them how wonderful they are and how incredible they are from day one. And I'm not saying, shout out everyone in the page. If somebody's not doing anything, or if they're complaining about Shakeology and they don't know how to make it, I don't shout those people out. I shout out the people who are positive and uplifting and inspiring, and they remember that. People will remember when you take the time to shout them out and really put them in the spotlight for something that they didn't even realize they were doing an incredible job at. But just know, if you slack off in that early part of the challenge group, when you're just noticing what they're doing and commenting on it and just encouraging them, it'll be really, really hard to then recruit them to be a coach when they don't know why you're telling them they'd be a great coach. Because it's really hard if you're saying, hey, Alice, you'd be a great coach, and then you're like, why? And she has nothing tangible to latch onto that makes her remember she'd be an incredible leader. And it has nothing to do with, you don't have to shout out and say, shout out to Alice who'd be a great coach. Just say she's showing leadership and she's showing inspiring qualities. That's it. People just want to know that they're being recognized for doing something awesome. And clearly Alice, or whoever your challenger is doing something awesome, and they need to be recognized for that. System number 3. So just to go over 1 and 2, 1 is making your list at the very beginning of the month. It can be maybe for the first few days of the month. If somebody's not participating in the first few days, are they maybe going to be a great coach? I don't know. Usually not, if they're not participating right off the bat. For me, it's the people who are on fire, loving it, totally want to do it. That's number 1, is making that list of challengers to watch. Number 2 is making sure to affirm your leaders in your group. We're all really great at shouting out, new emeralds and new diamonds and new star diamonds and top success club points and blah, blah, blah. But it starts with challenge groups, to be quite honest. And if you start that and start affirming people from day one, it's like when they do become a coach and they get that first 2 points on the success club board and they're on the weekly leaderboard, it's like, oh my gosh, they recognition becomes part of our team culture. And at least for my team, and I know for the Bombshell Dynasty too, because I see your guys' recognition posts. So just know that recognition goes a long way. So like I said, number 1, make your list of people to follow. Number 2, make sure you're affirming people, and at least once a day, shout out 1 or 2, depending how big your group is, at least once a day, shout out somebody. And even if it's the same person every day, who cares? They're going to be a rock star coach someday probably. So make sure you're just affirming somebody and shouting them out at least once a day. My third system is I do a call. So I first post it in my challenge groups and I say, hey, you guys, I've been getting a ton of questions about coaching. I figured, why don't we all just hop on a call together and we can all talk on Zoom. It'll be just a conference call, nothing special. You can hop on whenever you want. It'll be, Q&A style, just super casual. What do you guys think? And everyone's always like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun. And you guys, honestly, even if you get one person asking about coach or zero, even if you have nobody asking about coaching, or if you have all 20 of your challengers asking about coaching, say you've been getting a ton of questions about it. It makes people think like, oh, like there's, it's a sense of urgency. So it's a little white lie, but it gets people talking and it gets people moving, because honestly, you guys, I can't even tell you how many times I've had that, week 3 call and people will be like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about coaching since like the 3rd day of this challenge group. And I just didn't know how to approach it. I didn't know like if I'd lose you as my coach. It's so funny because I have really strong bonds with my challengers, and oftentimes they're worried about asking me if they can be a coach because they are afraid they're going to lose me as a coach. And I'm like, no, you become even more special to me when you're a part of my team. So if you're ever afraid of talking to your challengers about coaches, don't worry. There's going to be, I guarantee you, there's going to be somebody in there who's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this. Thank you. So my third system, like I said, is a group call. If you're not comfortable with doing a group call, I would say get comfortable with doing a group call. I was going to make an excuse for you and do like a live chat. No, do a call, do something live, face to face, because eventually when you want to be a star diamond or a diamond or even an emerald, you're going to be leading your own team calls anyway, right? And how it's so much less pressure when it's just your challengers. You're hanging out talking about health and fitness. So do a call. I was about to say do a chat if you're not comfortable with it, but get outside your comfort zone. Do a call, and even if it's just a conference call over the phone too, that's cool. I just am a big believer in the power of seeing somebody face to face. So that's something that I think is really powerful. But get on that call. Maybe do it on a Thursday night or a Sunday night. Ask people, and that's another way to get people engaged and say, hey, if I did a call, since I've been getting all these questions about becoming a coach, remember, whether you are, whether you're not, still say that. And when you say, hey, what day works best for you guys? You'll just get a ton of engagement, and it gets people excited, and they're putting their input in. They're like, oh, I can do Sunday, I can't do Thursday, or whatever it is. It just gets people talking, to be quite honest, because sometimes in challenge groups, it's like pulling teeth, and that's okay. I go through it too. And I consider myself challenge group queen. So I have those moments too. But just know, when you get people to be talking about it, it's just opening up a conversation. Just like when you're opening up a contact list or a conversation with somebody about joining a challenge group or getting a challenge pack, talking about coaching is just another conversation you're opening. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Don't stress about it. Keep it casual. So do that week 3 call. And the only reason I say week 3 is because I found that's like my sweet spot. I don't know what it is about week 3. That's just when I like to do it. So actually, speaking of which, I just realized I was traveling and out of town last week and I didn't do my week 3 post. So I'm going to have to do that sometime this week and make it a week 4 call. But for some reason, the week 3 in the month is just a sweet spot. So if you're like me and you kind of like a plan, you're type A, make it week 3. If not, make it week 2 or 4, whatever you want. But make sure you're having a conversation and opening it up and making it super low key and saying, hey, we're just going to have a conversation. I've been getting a ton of questions. Let's do it. And after the call, I always make sure, this is where another recognition thing comes in, I always make sure to shout out everyone in the team page who was on, whether it was one person with me hanging out or it was 5 people, 15 people, 50 people. I always shout them out in our challenge group and said, we had an incredible conversation. I've loved the call. I can't wait for, you guys to join my team or for you to learn more about coaching, depending on what point they're at after your conversation. I always shout them out. And then I always record the call. Make sure to record the call. I use Zoom. I'm super, not fancy. So I use Zoom and I record it. I post that in the group too, maybe usually like the next morning, and I'll say, hey, another shout out to everyone who hung out with us last night on the call. If you missed it, here's the recording. I also send it in an email. I'm just kind of bombarding them with this information. So if there's no way they can miss it, and knowing that we had this conversation about becoming coaches. So I post it in the group. I shout out those who are on the call, and I also email it to them and just say, hey, you're my current challengers. We had a call. Maybe you missed it. You may be out of town, birthday party, whatever it was. Wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to listen to this call. Then usually at least one person, becomes a coach from that challenge group. Again, what do? shout them out, and I shout out and make sure they know how excited I am for them to become a coach. And whether if they are blind and never saw the recording and they see somebody being shout out, they're like, wait, Brianna's becoming a coach. What about me? And they all start asking questions. And the point of all this recognition and shout outs and posting is just to create a conversation and to create an open conversation with your challengers, because it can be something that is intimidating for us as coaches and for your challengers. As nervous as you might be, they might be nervous to talk to you about becoming a coach. So that's where the organization and the call and the recognition all comes in. So that's probably the most important part of that topic, or of this process, is that call, because I feel like that's when people really, really connect with me and see my heart and see my passion and see what we're about. So so in the beginning of my challenge groups, kind of backtracking for a second, I do make mandatory friend requesting each other. And the reason I used to do this just because I thought it was fun. And then I was like, that is strategic, because when somebody becomes a coach, I usually send them like a coach gift or welcome to the team thing. Often I actually do a point system for participation in my challenge groups. So I've noticed that the people who participate the most in my challenge groups end up becoming coaches. And when I send them a gift or send them team gear, they always post it on their wall. And the other challengers that they're friends with see it. And they're like, wait, I want stuff from Carly. What's that? So it's strategic now, making sure that everyone is friends, because it's just yet another way for people to be exposed to the opportunity. I'm all about exposure. I'm all about expanding your reach. And that can mean social media and new contact lists, or it can mean expanding your reach within your own challenge group. So if those are things, if any of those three things are things that you haven't quite grasped yet or haven't done yet, don't be afraid to start now. Like, honestly, it's week 3, make a post tonight in your challenge group, or it's week 4, make a post in your challenge groups tonight and say, hey, I've been getting a ton of questions about coaching. Who wants to jump on a call? And even if you've gotten none, please, I guarantee you something, at least it will open up a conversation. And even if no one wants to get on a call, at least you're opening up the conversation and you're getting that out there, the opportunity out there. Because if you're not putting yourself out there and inviting people into challenge groups, you're depriving somebody of changing their life. If you're not telling them about the coaching opportunity, you're also depriving them from changing their lives. And it kills me that it took me 8 months to really recruit coaches and try and build this business, because I'm like, where would I be now? But that's okay. Everything that I went through and why it took me so long has made me the leader and the person I am today. So I totally understand if you're kind of that person, you're sitting in the sidelines and maybe you're hitting Success Club every month, which is an incredible achievement, by the way. And you're just kind of sitting there, but you don't quite see yourself as somebody who can teach people about the business. Don't think about it like that. Think about it that you're going to teach people how to help people. And you're going to teach them how to help people. And it makes it so much more, at least I hope it does. I'm patting myself on the back, but it makes it so much more, I was going to say graspable. That's not a word, but it makes it easier to grasp the concept when you're thinking about it as the way of, okay, I know how to help people. I know how to hit Success Club. Let me see what can happen if I add 3 coaches this month and help them do the same thing. It's so much more simple. You don't have to recruit 30 coaches in 1 month. Recruit 2 or 3, recruit 1, do something to move your business, because the amazing thing about this business is the income becomes residual when you start to grow your team and you pour that time and energy into helping people help people. And I know Lindsay is a big, obviously a great example of that. Teaching you guys how to teach people how to help people is just, has blessed her business times a million. And I know that I'm going to get there too, because I made that decision to not overthink it and to make it something simple where I knew how to help people. And now all I do is help people. It's all I do. And that's all I do every single day, all day. So make it simple, you guys. Make it, I want to keep saying graspable. That's not a word. Make it easy to grasp for your challengers, and make it something that's available. If, I always tell my coaches who are telling me that they're not hitting Success Club at the end of the month, and I go to their pages and they haven't posted anything inspiring. at all this month. They haven't posted a call to action. They haven't asked any questions. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, people aren't going to know that you have something to offer if you're not talking about it, right? Just like coaching, how do you expect to be a 15-star diamond coach if you're not talking to people about the coaching opportunity? So this also might not be your struggle. You might be like, hey, I recruited 20 coaches last month. I'm good. That's cool too, but maybe you'll take some time to think about it in a more strategic way after this call, in a way of opening up a conversation instead of just recruiting a bunch of people. Create a conversation and create a safe space for people to talk. I think oftentimes when people start talking about the coaching opportunity, they assume that we're just going to, suck them up and recruit them and make them one of our little minions. But when you make it a call and you make it a conversation in a challenge group, it's so much more, I was again going to say graspable. Just killing myself tonight. It makes it so much more easy for people to understand it. It makes it something more fun for people to want to do. So exactly, like for me, I have Zoom calls every week with my team. I like seeing everybody's faces. My team's still really small, so I don't have 500 on my call like Lindsay does every week. But for me, when I'm on that call with my challengers and we're talking about coaching and what it's like, I say, oh, by the way, we have I do 2 team calls a week for my PS coaches and then for my team. And I tell them, and by the way, this is what we do every week. You'll see me at least twice a week if you want to be. And it creates it more close to home for them. They're like, oh, okay. I can connect with people on Facebook and I connect with them face to face. And I can learn from Carly. I can learn from my other challengers who are with me. It just makes it easier for people to see. And it makes it easier for people to see a vision. When you keep it simple like that, and you keep it just as a conversation that's open and flowing. And honestly, you guys, it might not happen in that first try, but I often, at least I hope you guys do, you have challengers who stay with you for months and months. One of my girls, we just realized she's been with me, I think it's 14 months. And she's always a challenger, and gosh, one day she'll be a coach, one day. And she joins every single month when I say, I've only been doing this system, by the way, for the last 5 months. It hasn't always been a system. Like I said, when I was going for top 10, I learned these systems as I went. I kind of stumbled my way into top 10. But it became something that was a system because I did one call and I was like, that worked really well. I recruited 15 coaches in 5 days because I did this one call. I was like, I should do that again next month. And then it just became a system, just like you guys. If you notice you do something really well, you're like, oh, that worked. I should do that again. It becomes a system. So for me, I do those calls every month. And this one challenger of mine who's been with me forever, even knows about the coach discount. She knows she can be a discount coach, still hasn't become a coach, but she gets on those calls every month and for the past 5 months. And every time she participates and adds such value to this group. And honestly, I think she's been a big part of why some of my other challengers have become coaches, because she's so passionate about what we do. So just know that it might not be that everyone who's on the call becomes coaches, but by seeing other people involved and other people interested, it gives people a safe spot to be able to talk and be able to have that conversation with you. Because guaranteed, you guys, there's probably at least somebody who's wondering, sitting there, gosh, I wish I could do something like her. I wish I could work at home. I wish I could play with my dogs. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm kind of known as being in my pajamas all day and always with my dogs. So, I've had people who literally email me that, or my challengers who literally email me that saying, I want to be at home with my dogs. I want to do that. I want to do what you do. So just know, until you open up that conversation, you don't know who is waiting and just wanting to hear that. So to recap a little bit again, that system that I have is making your list of challengers to follow in the very beginning of the month, number 1. Number 2 is the recognition and the affirmation of leadership qualities that you see daily in somebody, at least one person in your challenge group, even if it's the same person over and over and over. Shout somebody out. Number 3 is that week 3 call that I call it. It's kind of that sweet spot and that time to really connect with your challengers. Have that open and make a call available to them. And then number 4 is another shouting out of people once they become coaches, and making sure that conversation is continuous and open. If your first call doesn't go so well, don't let anybody else think that it didn't go well. Just say, great call, everybody. Super glad we all got to talk. Who cares? Tag them all still. It'll just create an ongoing conversation. So that way, maybe come next month, in March, when after you had somebody who missed the call this month and decides that next month's their opportunity, they'll remember you saying that call was so awesome and they'll want to get on it. So anyway, it seems super simple, but for me saying it because it's become such a system, but I hope maybe something new kind of inspired you or triggered something within you, and a new way for you to talk to people about coaching, even if you're really, really great at recruiting, or if you're not really, really great at recruiting. Either way, I hope there was a nugget in there for you to take away and to apply. And I really hope that you guys all do a call sometime this week. I hope Zoom explodes because so many calls are going on, and you're talking to your challengers about coaching, because just know that you're depriving somebody of changing their life if they don't know about the coaching opportunity and they don't know that they can join you, because a lot of people don't know. They think you have to be someone super cool and super special to be a coach, and you don't. I mean, we're all super cool and super special, but you don't have to have any crazy qualities that other coaches have. You just have to be you, and you have to love health and fitness. And that's what our challengers do. And the challengers that we want to become coaches are those people. So I hope that helped. I think, Lindsay, you said you wanted me to do some Q&A. I don't know if that was okay. Amazing call and a million takeaways. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Honestly, sometimes I never know how this is going to go. So, Lindsay, do you want me to stop broadcasting? I don't know if you want to type in that thing. Or you guys, if you have a question, you're adorable. Oh, thanks. You guys are so nice. Can you hit on your point system? Oh, yes. Lindsay, I'm assuming you meant, oh, wow, there's so many comments. I'm assuming you meant my point system and my challenge groups. Absolutely. So this is actually something, I'm getting distracted by all your comments. You guys are so nice. Okay, what do you discuss on your calls to bring up coaching? Okay, so when the first question that Lindsay wanted me to touch on, though, is my point system. So for me, I'm going to do kind of a nutshell. So if you don't get this all at once, listen to the recording and type it down, write it down. But I do a point system based on participation. I am an admin, obviously, in my challenge groups, and I'm the only one who can post in my challenge groups. I realized when everyone can post, it was a hot mess. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually losing my mind, I think. So I made it very simple. I do 3 posts a day. It's only me. No one else can post in the group. They comment on my posts. In the morning, I always have a task for them. Anything from, share a morning selfie to what was your personal development reading, because I have my challengers read personal development. So easy. Another transition from challenger to coach. I have my challengers read personal development to, how's your day going? Something simple. And then I have a second post of the day is open forum for questions and sharing pictures or whatever it is. And then the third post of the night is a wrap up. How was your day? Share all that. So I have a point system based on participation. They get 2 points, honor system, for doing Shakeology and their workouts, honor system. I can't really track that. 1 point for participating in the challenge group, the post, like at least doing 1 post and doing some sort of comment. And then I do 5 points for them posting on social media. Now, this is another strategic thing for me to do, because I really affirm the people in my challengers who are posting publicly about their social media and about their journey, because the ones who are willing to post about it, I know will be great coaches. So they're another person to follow. So like I said, it was 2 points, 1 point, and then 5 points for social media posts and tagging me. So even if they don't become a coach, it's more exposure for you as a coach, more exposure for them tagging you in a challenge group post. And if they're not ready to be a coach, they can say, hey, talk to my coach Carly, and she'll be happy to sign you up. Can't even tell you how many referrals I've gotten from that. So the point system is honor system. I always, almost 99% of the time, my challengers who have the most points end up becoming coaches. So when I send them a gift for having their most points in the challenge group, it's actually really a new coach welcome gift, which then of course they post and tag me in, and all their fellow challengers see it. And it just becomes another way to open up the conversation. So it's all about opening up that conversation. But again, my point system is pretty simple, based on participation. And at the end of the month, when whoever has the most points, who usually ends up becoming a coach, gets a gift from me. Nothing special, team gear, a water bottle, nothing super cool. Okay, quick question. Okay, so I think a few of you asked about what I talk about. Honestly, okay, you're asking about the points. You listen to the recording and you guys can hear it again. Sorry, I want to get to all your questions. What do I talk about on my calls with my coach? Honestly, it's like super casual. Like at first, the first 5 minutes will be like, how's everybody's night? Like, how's your weekend? I'm just talking to people. And then I'll be like, okay, you guys, like, let's talk. So you guys all have questions. I ask them all to come with questions. And if they don't, usually, honestly, you guys, usually they come with questions because they're like, well, what is this about? Tell your story. Tell why you're a coach. Why did you become a coach? Why do you want to help people? Teach people, talk about why they get a discount, how they can pay for their own Shakeology. I always say, you guys, can you think of, 3 people off the top of your head who would probably be willing to join you in this journey if you became a coach, or if you inspired them to join you? And almost always they're like, oh yeah, I can name 3 people. I'm like, awesome. You'd have more than enough to pay for your own Shakeology if you sign them up. And they're like, oh, really? So honestly, it's really that simple. There's no special sauce that I have in these calls. It's literally just me talking and opening up the conversation about coaching, about my story, why I became a coach, tell your story, why you became a coach, and then ask them if they know of 3 people that they'd be willing to help. And then it opens up that conversation again. And not only is that Success Club, that's also commission, and they got their own Shakeology covered, and guaranteed when somebody gets their Shakeology covered in their first month as a coach, they don't want to stop. So that's how I open up that conversation. Do you keep people in the challenge group without a new challenge pack? That's a very loaded question. I have such a large following on Instagram that I don't anymore. People do have to I do require challenge packs to be in my challenge groups because I believe in the value of it. I mean, if you don't see the value, I don't know why you'd want to work with me, because I truly believe in the value of the challenge pack. That's what I started with. Yes. So people have to have challenge packs to be in my challenge groups. Absolutely. I run free clean eating groups, not as often anymore, just because my market has really expanded. But when I was a newer coach, I was running free clean eating groups like up the wazoo. I was doing them all month, and that's a great way to build your contact list. But I do, for my really special challenge groups, I do require challenge packs because it makes it more intimate. It makes it more connected. It's hard to connect with somebody who didn't invest in a challenge pack when you invested the 140 and they didn't. So yeah. Do you know, oh my goodness, so many questions. What PD? I usually have them read the Compound Effect. So if you haven't read the Compound Effect yourself, I don't even, I'm just kind of speechless if you haven't, but get on reading the Compound Effect, and I have them read that. So that book's not only for coaching and business, it's for life. So yeah, they read the Compound Effect. Just wondered with the girl who's done it for 14 months. I don't know what that was towards. Do your new coaches from the month before have challengers in your group? What about discount coaches who want to be in a group for the accountability? I'm not sure what that first question meant, but my discount coaches, yeah, absolutely. They get to be in my challenge groups. I mean, if you're getting Shakeology every month, you have a place with me forever and ever and ever. I never get rid of people. I always say, if you're getting your Shakeology and you're doing workouts, you're stuck with me forever. So yeah. What is free clean eating?
Carly,
group, that's something that you can do. Sorry, I didn't know. I heard you, Lindsay. I just said free clean eating group. That's the kind of stuff that, I'm sure you guys talk about in your team.
Yeah, so it's going to echo for a second, guys. I know, so you don't have to comment. What the girl was asking was, do you let let's say the challengers that become coaches, do you let them be like apprentice coaches in your challenge? Do you have their challengers go in, or do you have them start initially by themselves? Does that make sense?
Got it. All right. So I'm telling you guys, this instant presenter thing, it's just I'm not good at it. So I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me you couldn't hear me. So what was the question? Oh, challengers. So when I have a new coach and they have 3 challengers and they hit Success Club and they want to run a challenge group, yes, I do have the option available, but I almost make it sound like a cop-out. So I'm like, yeah, I guess you can put them in mine, but why aren't you running your own? So it kind of holds them accountable to do their own. But I also pair up my new coaches. Like obviously, if I have 3 new coaches in January and they all hit Success Club, that's what, 3 people times 3, that's 9. That's 9 challengers between the 3 coaches, and they team up and they do it together. So yeah, I don't think I would. Yeah, absolutely. If one of my coaches said, I really need your help, I don't know what I'm doing, but all of my coaches, no, not all, that's a lie. 90% of my coaches have been in my challenge groups before, so they know how to run their own. I think that's a cop-out if you need to have your hand held. Sorry, I'm a little bit of tough love. So if you're like, oh my gosh, that's just kind of how I am. I think that's a cop-out to ask to be in a challenge group when you've already been in one. If I have a coach who's been, who does like a coach mentorship with me where they've never done a challenge group, absolutely. I put them in my challenge groups first so they can get a sneak peek. But other than that, if I have challengers who become coaches and then they're not willing to run their own challenge groups, that's a big red flag for me. So I pair them up. I never like go say, you know, fly, be alone, but I pair them up together, and then they have all the resources that I had in my own challenge group, so they know what to do. Yeah, I'm big about pushing birds out of the nest, if that makes sense. Oh my goodness. Do you let challengers roll over the next month? Yes, I let challengers roll over to the next month. I require monthly Shakeology, but I do give a month leeway. You know, if somebody's like, honestly, I was traveling for 2 weeks of the month, didn't drink my Shakeology. In February, they postpone their Shakeology in February. I say, okay, as long as you're getting it again in March, totally fine. I'll give you a pass. But yeah, it keeps people accountable. It's like I said before, it's hard to connect when you have some challengers who are investing in their Shakeology every month and some who aren't. It's like, I don't know. I think it's hard for people to connect when they're all not investing in the same thing and investing in their health. So yes, I do require my Shakeology, and yes, absolutely. My challengers aren't 30 days done and gone. Mine are, you're with me forever. Like my challenger, I said, who was with me for 14 months. Yeah, they're always welcome to stay with me as long as they're doing their thing and getting their Shakeology. Do you have a name for your challenge group? No, I mean, right now it's like Love Your Body. March, it might be like March Madness. April, I think it was, I don't even know what April will be. Spring something. Spring into fitness. Fall was falling into fitness. I mean, no, I'm kind of just casual that way. Okay, I don't know if I see any other. Do you put everyone in a new group? Oh, you already answered that one. Yeah, I don't, Lindsay, if you want to pop in and have me stop.
Yeah. With 500 people, you're gonna get questions all night. But thank you so much. Stop broadcasting. You're good. You did amazing. Thank you so much. I'll finish out the call. So first off, I didn't want to like stay on echo with both of us because I know it's crazy, but Carly, awesome notes. I took notes myself, and you know, I definitely feel like that was a call that you guys needed. Of course, you have more questions, and we have a lot more to come. I just want to let you guys know ahead of time that we have a call next week with Kendra Fletcher, who is, if you know like gems, like sapphire, ruby, emerald, pearl, she is full on emerald. And we don't have a lot of like top emerald coaches on our team. I don't know if we don't just track that. I'm definitely not an emerald, but she is, and she's incredible. And her call topic, I think, will be really great for you all. It's called How to Be More Organized and Productive, Tips and Tools for Building Your Business in an Hour a Day. So I know a lot of you that have full-time jobs, that'll be a good one. This recording will be, not emerald, the gem, sorry, not like the rank emerald personality types. And if you want to look it up, it's Danny Johnson Gems for those of you who are new. And our calls are always posted on my website. If you go to the Bombshell Dynasty section, it's there. I posted the link in the comment section earlier. Let me see if I can post it again if I